You guys ever wonder about how all these churches are doing their tech? What they're using on stage, what they're using to put up the lyrics, what they're using back in the sound booth where nobody knows anything what's going on except for the techs in there? Well, guys, today we're going to be talking with our tech director here at the Bridge. We're going to be going over what we use to project the lyrics on the screens, what we're using as far as our sound equipment, what we're using as far as our camera equipment. So if you've ever wondered about how do I get started with those sort of things, if you're wanting to go online with your services, if you're wanting to upgrade and you just don't really know where to begin, we're going to be going over some of our equipment, sharing with you guys what we use. Be sure you comment down below on this video to share with what you guys use, so we can share that knowledge with everybody else. You guys enjoy the video. Hey guys, this is Rob back with another episode of Church Talk, and today we are here at my home church at the Bridge in Poca, West Virginia with our tech director, Deshaun Canada, and we're going to be going over a little bit of our tech. I started to talk a little bit about this a while back to you guys, but I don't know near as much about the tech as he does, so I introduced to you guys like what our board is, what we're using, but all the other computers that you see back here, I don't know what's going on with those. So Deshaun, can you just kind of start us off? We'll just start back here on the back computer. This is the one that we run. What do we run from this?
Okay, so this is where we run our live stream out of. We've got a Mac Mini mounted under the desk, and that's running to two. They're Scepter gaming monitors. But out of this, we run our live stream. So we run all of our cameras and our media into an ATEM Mini. And then out of that ATEM Mini, we run it to our stream software, which is OBS. And then from OBS, we run it out to our app, to YouTube, to Facebook.
Okay, cool. So when you say you run it, how do you get there from somebody that say they're involved in a church somewhere that they don't have any of this equipment? They have no clue what you're talking about when you say we run it from here to there. What's the steps that they would need if they're wanting to go live and they don't know how to do it? What wire do they need to run that with? Was it? And I don't know if you can look up underneath, if you can see what's under there as far as the computer. I know it's underneath of things is always a mess. So
Always.
So you guys just comment down below if this is messier than yours or not as messy. So, but if you can explain, you don't have to like point every little detail out. But for someone that just doesn't really know what they're even looking at right now, if you can kind of run through the process of hooking it up, like what cables are they going to need? Just kind of what's the process of installing that?
So to start off, you're going to need plenty of power, a nice power strip with surge protectors and everything else that you'll need. You'll need a decent computer, one with as much processing power as possible, just for whatever your requirements are. A simple setup won't need too much. So out of our Mac Mini underneath here, we run an HDMI port out to, well, our screens, of course. And then we run from our ATEM Mini another HDMI port into the Mac Mini. So we'll plug all of our cameras, our HDMI for media, anything else we want to send out to the live stream. We'll just plug those HDMIs into the back of this ATEM. And then that ATEM, and on the software here, you'll be able to control and see all the inputs. From there, we have to encode our ATEM into our streaming software, which is OBS. And from OBS, we'll just encode it out to our streaming platform. So right now we stream through Subsplash, which is our app provider, and it takes it straight to our app, and then we'll connect our pages like Facebook and YouTube, and the live stream will send out there also.
Okay, so it sounds really complicated, but simple at the same time. It's like there's not a whole lot to it, but if you don't know, then it's like, oh my goodness, you're speaking a foreign language to me. But it sounds like it's pretty simple, but the setup is what is difficult. Like once you get set up, it sounds like it's pretty easy to operate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay, cool. So, um, how do you like? So we're just running an HDMI from our camera into the computer.
Into the ATEM right here.
Okay, into the top ATEM. Okay, so then can you control the camera from here as well? As far as like, I guess it depends on if you have like a PTZ camera, right? So are you able to like control the zoom on our camera? Because I know it's not like a PTZ type camera. But can you control the zoom and stuff on ours as well, or and also what type do we use?
Okay, so we use as our camera, our main follow cam, we use a Blackmagic Studio Camera 4K, and this it's just the plus version, so it's not the pro. But you can zoom in and out if you have the lens, and that can all be done from this ATEM control software right here.
Gotcha.
You can color correct, you can zoom in and out, you can adjust focus, which ours does allow us to do. It does allow us to adjust focus, but it doesn't let us zoom in and out.
Gotcha. So it sounds like once you get this thing set up, you're in good shape. It seems like it's pretty straightforward. If you've never done this stuff before, I know it's probably going to be a little bit overwhelming, but that's the reason we're making these videos is that maybe if there's something that you guys that's done this in the past and you're like, man, what are you doing it that way for? You can comment down below and tell us, hey, there's an easier way or there's a different setup, or you can give us a thumbs up and be like, you're doing it right, you're doing a good job, keep doing what you're doing, but maybe we can help somebody else. Let's go ahead and jump over to the next set of computers and tell me what is this setup right here, because this just looks, really both of them, whether they're set up, they look a little bit intimidating for somebody that doesn't know what is going on. So share with us what we have here.
Okay, so here we've got it's a Dell all-in-one. I'm not exactly sure on which one, and we've got an HP monitor up here. So we run Proclaim for all our presentation, our media, anything that we're sending to the screens, to our monitor in the back. So it's a really simple program. It's built for churches, and compared to ProPresenter or Easy Worship, this is a little bit cheaper than ProPresenter, but it gives you a good amount of bang for your buck, for sure. So right here, this top screen, it just mirrors what goes out to our main screens. Give us a little bit of a closer look, like if we have to drag a video up there or whatever. Proclaim's actually really simple to operate. And from here also, we run a HDMI port into the back of our ATEM to put media, lower thirds lyrics, stuff like that on our live stream as well.
Cool. Well, some of you guys, if you haven't seen some of the past videos, you want to go back and watch it, and I'm talking about why we ended up with a window in our sound booth rather than all of it gone, and there's another story behind that. So there's a reason it's like this. So if you're wondering, like, well, you can't really see, well, go back and watch that video. I'll put a link to that in here, or maybe I'll put it on the end screen. But there's a reason. So as you guys are looking at this, like, you guys can't see something there. Well, go back and watch that video. It'll explain. So with this one now, how do we get the? Now, is there sound that goes through here as well, or is this only for the screens, and or what all is going through this computer as far as your audio, video? Because I know we got this computer, and then how do these link up together at all, or are they completely separate, or is the audio going to both of those? How's that work between the three setup here?
Okay, so we actually run Proclaim and Spotify out of this computer. So we'll just run the music into the board, and that's how we get our ambient music, whatever we're playing before service, pre-service, post-service.
Okay, so when you're running the music into the board, how does it get there? Are you using like a is it like a quarter-inch cable, eighth-inch cable? Is it a USB cable? How's it getting from your computer to your board and then also from your board to the computer.
Okay, so it's a weird cable. It's a 3.5 mil jack, like a headphone jack, to a 1/4 inch cable that we run into the back of the board, and then we use it. Um, we just use the input on the back of the board, and we push it out to all of our speakers. Now, HDMI is the only thing that goes from this computer to that computer. It's the only cord that connects those. All of our live stream audio and everything else comes from the board itself.
Okay, cool. So now let's move over to the board. If you guys have any questions on what we talked about, just put a comment down below, and I'll come back to Deshaun and ask him, because I won't know. I'll just tell you right up front. There's a lot of this stuff that we get into the board and get into mixing, and I have a good ear for that, and I'm comfortable there. But a lot of these other things, it's like if you don't have a good tech guy in your church, sometimes we're just completely lost. So as we move over to the board, we kind of introduced this board before. We talked. It's an X32. I know a lot of you guys love them. A lot of you guys hate them, and it just really, it's a personal preference thing. But Deshaun, what have you found as far as training people that don't know how to use the board? Does it seem to be, because I mentioned that I thought it was user friendly. That's coming from a person who I don't know a whole lot about the board, but I can figure things out as far as like mixing live. But you get into some of the other things that I'm not real sure how things are routed, but it seems to be user friendly to me. Is that what you find with training volunteers, or is it a little bit more difficult?
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing. It's very surface level, easy to use for volunteers, easy to teach. There's not a lot to it, but once you get into like the routing and the setup of it, it can get a little more complicated. But I would say this is pretty user friendly.
So you'd probably recommend to have like if your church has a tech director or has a main guy, maybe he's not called a tech director, but he's kind of your main guy that does all your tech. He would be kind of the one that do your EQ and do all the stuff within the board, and then your volunteers would come in and just do the mixing and get the levels right. And those deeper things, they probably don't even need to know about them yet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Can you kind of go over a few of the pros and cons of the X32? Maybe if there's someone out there who's looking at switching over from analog to digital and they're starting to do a little bit of research, what are some things that you like about the X32 and some things that you don't like about it?
So I would say for the pros, it's definitely a very entry-level board, and it's very user-friendly. The Behringer ecosystem with the stage box and the P16, they all work great together, and there's really not a lot to it unless you start to dig in. As far as cons go, it took me a while to figure out how to route this board correctly, or where to route certain things. I'm still learning new things about it. There's some things that I would like to do that maybe they're a little bit more difficult to find on the board than they would be on like another board.
But you didn't really have any training on this board. You kind of got your training just by trial and error and finding out, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you're a tech type of guy, you're going to figure this board out pretty easily. I don't say pretty easily, but you're going to figure the board out. Like you said, those surface level things are going to come natural to you. But you get deeper down in the board with the routing and things like that, you can figure it out, but it might be might take a little bit of time and effort there. What are some things about this board that you found that you just don't like, that you wish that Behringer would change, or you wish that it was different?
Well, one of my least favorite things about this board is probably the faders. I mean, they're all motorized, but if you go with the Midas counterpart of this, the faders are a lot nicer. The gain staging is very easy on this. It might be a little too easy, especially with these knobs up top for volunteers that maybe don't know what they're doing, or little kids to come up here and just kind of mess with it. Luckily, there is a way that you can lock the board so that anything can't be changed.
But if someone is looking at going digital from analog, is there a different board that you would recommend over the 32, or if somebody has, because the price points of these things used to be like 2,300. Now they're looking at the time of this video, you're looking at probably $3,000, something like that for this board, just the board alone. So if somebody has a bigger budget than that, and they're like, I don't really want to go with the entry level, I want something really nice, but not like crazy expensive. Is there something else that you would recommend, or would you say I I would stick to this board as an entry level? So what's your thoughts on that one?
As budget friendly and as low price point as this is, I mean, our X32 is a few years old, but I would definitely suggest this as an entry level. Other options would be the Midas counterpart. I believe it's the M32, and then Allen and Heath make a decent board for, which would make it easier for techs switching over that know how to use analog. And so does Yamaha. They make a good board too.
From my perspective, from being on the platform and plugging things into the stage box and using the P16s up there, is that all that is Behringer, and all of it kind of goes together. Now, if you go to a different brand, do they kind of have that same setup? Do you know, or can they use, maybe someone's already got some Behringer P16s and they're kind of collecting things as they can. Can you use a Behringer P16 with a different board?
Honestly, if you wanted to stick within the Behringer ecosystem, I would definitely recommend this board or the M32, the Midas M32. Or if you need even more channels and you want to go for a bigger, nicer board, I would recommend the Behringer Wing.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so basically what I'm gathering is if you stick to the Behringer brand, you got a lot of different options that you can, that it's all like almost like a plug and play when you get to the stage.
Yeah.
So okay.
Especially for small to mid-sized churches, it's really hard to beat this thing, but it really depends on your circumstance and what you prefer.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Deshaun, I appreciate you joining me today. And like I say, you guys have any questions that I didn't ask him, or something we didn't go over, be sure you comment it down below, and I'll get those questions to Deshaun, and then I'll comment back, or we'll just make another video on if we get enough questions. But later on, I did show you guys in one of our past videos what we're using on stage as far as our tools, but I have not shown you the stage box. We still have a little bit of work to do on that. From, like I said, all this is, the equipment's not new, but what you see in the sanctuary has all been remodeled recently, and there's some more work that we have to do behind that wall that you guys have seen where all of our equipment's at. About how much would a setup similar to what we're looking at here, with just being able to get the camera, the tripod, and the equipment that we talked about in the beginning? If you remember, roughly how much would a church be looking at if they were to, if they wanted to start up and go online and have a decent setup similar to this one?
So the camera itself was about $1,500. The lens was about the same. That tripod, the newer tripod, they do get a little pricey. This one's about $160, just because we need the height on it to shoot over our congregation. Cables vary depending on what kind you want to buy, and then a Mac Mini run you about $1,000.
Okay, so you're probably looking at, I'm gonna throw out numbers, say around $4,000 to $5,000 realistically to get started with the setup similar to ours.
Yeah, maybe a little more.
Okay. So if you guys are looking at your budgets and saying, I want to do better than just putting my phone up, I want to start saving up some money, or how much money do we need to spend on it? So a little more, I would maybe just throw out a number, say we're going to spend about $7,500. We just expect to spend that amount of money to go online with a good online presence. Because let's face it, if you're a church and you don't have a good online presence, a lot of that work is in vain, because not many people are going to continue to watch and hear the message that you're preaching. If your worship team sounds bad online but good here in house, it's like the people that watch online would never come to visit the house because they're like, man, they sound bad. But in reality, they don't sound bad. It's the mix, and it could be just the setup that you have. So that's why we're going through this. It's like it takes a lot. It takes a lot of knowledge. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of volunteers to run all this equipment. So, all right, and one thing that I've often wondered, because I'm used to having like any mix, a person mixing it, but with the size of our volunteers, well, not the size of our volunteers, the size of our volunteer staff, the size of our staff. Doesn't matter your size. You can be big or little. You can run a board no matter what. But but with the size of our staff, um, we're not staffed to be able to have a separate person running our online mix. So so what you heard on our mix is actually it's how Deshaun's got it set up to mirror what's in the house. So if you can kind of go through that with the board, or just kind of explain how you done that, how you got our mix to sound the way it sounds without actually mixing that real time and sending it. So all that is kind of like that's above me. I'm lost on it. So explain to me how you've done that. How did you come up with the sound that we've got on our online mix?
So it's pretty simple, actually. But doing it this way, your live stream is not going to sound good because it's going to mirror, well, unless your main house sounds good. It's just going to mirror the mix that's in the house out to the live stream. So what we do is we send out 2 live stream buses for stereo, one left, one right, and we send each individual channel post fader out of our USB at the back of the board, down run the cable into the back of our Mac Mini, and then that's how we get our audio online. There's a few things we keep pre-fader, like pastors' mics or pre-service music, just simple stuff like that.
Okay, so it seems a whole lot simpler than what I thought it was. So if you have the volunteer staff to be able to mix that, I guess you would kind of do the same thing. You would just put all those channels like pre-fader so that they would have total control over the faders. But the way you've got it set up right now, whatever we hear in-house and whatever we adjust, it just mirrors it online.
Exactly.
Okay, that seems like a pretty easy approach to it, and it does sound better than what I figured our online would sound, to be honest with you. When I went and started listening to it, I was expecting to hear, because there's a lot of churches where we don't have we don't have the staff, we don't have the volunteers, don't have the manpower to be able to mix the online presence. So it ends up just being forgotten about, and it doesn't sound good online. But I think ours is sounding pretty good. Now you can, if you're a sound guy, you can definitely pick it apart. And I'm sure Deshaun probably goes back and he's like, man, this could have been better, or that could have been better. Your ear hears it. But in general, it sounds really good. It sounds a lot better than what ours have in the past, where it's just kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
And there's, especially if it's analog and you're just kind of picking up from whatever you can, and you just kind of set it to what you think it needs to be, and then you realize, oh my goodness, all the harmony singers were louder than the lead. The lead vocal was down. It sounded like they were out of key, and the drums were really loud, and the guitar. You're like, why do we even do online, right? But Deshaun, you've done a great job with especially learning this board without any training on it, and taking over with the. You're relatively new at the title tech director, right? Just maybe a few months.
Yeah.
So he's been doing an awesome job. Before that, he was doing all the same thing. He just didn't have the title. So recently, he just graduated to a place with the same work, same responsibility. You just got a title now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you guys for watching. Like I say, be sure that you comment down below if this is the type of content that you like. Make sure that you hit the like, that you subscribe, hit the bell as well, so that you can be notified when we go live, or go live. We don't ever go live. It's all recorded, so you can be notified when we upload anything. So you guys have a great day. Thank you all for watching Church Talk.